What's up, Notre Dame fans? Mike Singer, Tyler Horker. We're talking about media availability with a couple Notre Dame coaches, an update on the Notre Dame side of things for Notre Dame's involvement in the NCAA football game coming out this summer, and then the latest broadcast booth developments for NBC. So we're going to talk about it all in this video. Hit the thumbs up on this. Of course, subscribe to our channel for more content. And as always, go to blueandgold.com for more Notre Dame football and recruiting coverage and basketball coverage. We are in hoop season. Special offer for you guys is $1 for 2 months using the promo code UND1 if you're a new subscriber. So let's go to the coaching first. Now, Notre Dame brought in Max Bulla officially as a full-time assistant coach up from, I believe he's a grad assistant, and then brought in, of course, Mike Denbrock from LSU. I want to talk about those two guys and you, Tyler, and the other media members having availability with these guys recently. I believe it was just this past Friday, and I put up your tweet here with Mike Denbrock talking about why he left LSU to become the offensive coordinator at Notre Dame. So I just wanted to hear from you, Tyler, about your impressions of meeting with Denbrock and Bulla.
Yeah, it's a popular tweet right there. I think I got a ton of likes right when I sent it out, and I might still be getting notifications about that one. But it just goes to show how much love is reciprocated, because that's what he said. He loves Notre Dame. I think it's in that. Yeah, it's in the quote right there. He says, "Why did he leave LSU?" And Brian Kelly, who is not just a colleague of the last couple of decades, but a friend of over 30 years. And he said, "Yeah, I love Brian Kelly, but this is Notre Dame. I love Notre Dame." So I wrote about that today as well on Monday, that he's at the right place at the right time. He's 60 years old. He told us that he doesn't want to be a head coach anymore. The last time that he was at Notre Dame, he was still thinking about being a head coach. I guess that was 6-7 years ago. And at that time, yeah, you're in your early 50s. You probably got a decade and a half to be a good college football coach. You know, if you want to hang it up before you're 70 years old, you still got all of your 60s to do that. But now that he is 60 and it hasn't happened for him yet, he was in a place where he was thinking, okay, where can I keep doing what I'm doing as an offensive coordinator, but a little closer to where I'm from? And I'm speaking as Denbrock. That's right up the road in Michigan, 90 minutes away from South Bend. He's got a lot of family in the South Bend area, or, in the Midwest. So he's close to home. He loves Notre Dame. It's now his show. We have to remember that the first 2 stints at Notre Dame under Tyrone Willingham and then under Brian Kelly, obviously, he had that short space there in the latter stint under Brian Kelly where he was technically offensive coordinator, but there was a lot of moving pieces at that time, Mike. And ultimately, I believe he was the offensive coordinator. And then they just said, you know what, we're going to name you associate head coach. And I think he coached the wide receivers or the tight ends. Now he's the offensive coordinator, and this is his gig. And he spoke to that on Friday. That's what I was most impressed with from him, was just how, he's a mature guy, obviously. He's been doing this for a very long time. He knows what he's doing. When you asked him about philosophy stuff, he knew exactly what to say. Mike, let me just say this. How many guys are going to walk into the offensive coordinator position at Notre Dame, and he just put his fist down and he said, yeah, we're going to get out of 12 personnel and 13 personnel. We're going to spread the field out and go 11, and you're going to see a lot of wide receivers. You're going to see us running the ball up all these different lanes and not just crashing straight ahead in the line of scrimmage. How many guys get this job and say that? I think he knows which direction college football and football has gone in general. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs winning the Super Bowl every year. They spread that thing out. They let their quarterback be a playmaker, and they let everyone else be playmakers too. So he's a smart guy, intelligent guy, and he's the right guy for the job. He's the right guy for Notre Dame, and Notre Dame is the right place for him too.
Yeah, just real couple quick thoughts. When you're the offense coordinator at Notre Dame, you're kind of the head coach of the offense. I've been saying that for a while, with Marcus Freeman being more defensive guy. Yeah. So this is a perfect opportunity for him, going back to the points you made about him maybe not having full reign in his previous stops. When you talked about the 60-year-old thing, like, I don't want to be head coach anymore, Notre Dame fans probably heard that, because this is what I thought. I was like, hope Al Golden would say the same thing. Al, don't go anywhere else. Just stay here forever, kind of deal. And then, it's definitely it's a good hire for Notre Dame. And then, speaking of another hire for the Irish, Max Bulla, can you give me like 30 seconds on Notre Dame's new linebackers coach?
Impressive. And this is the first time he's ever been in this position. So he was raw when he was talking to us. Like, he said some things and you were just like, okay, yeah, this guy doesn't have the filtered coach speak lens or veil. He's just going to say what he wants. And most of everything that he said was, okay, yeah, I get this. Like, this guy wants to coach these guys. He wants these linebackers to be better. He's done this himself pretty recently. I mean, he's a young guy. He was at Michigan State, I don't know, 15 years ago, doing exactly what these guys are being asked to do here at Notre Dame. And I think there was one funny thing that kind of just encapsulates how raw and just who he is. He said, Nick Saban got mad at me when I left Alabama to be a GA at Notre Dame because he thought it was a lateral move and this wasn't a train. He said Nick Saban told him this ain't no training ground. So, but look, I think he's smart and he realized I'm probably never going to be the linebackers coach at Alabama if I continue on this current track. Let me go to Notre Dame, show them what I got. And look, now he's a linebackers coach at Notre Dame. And I think kind of like Denbrock, he's the right guy for the job.
Moving along to the NCAA video game. So I pulled up this tweet. This is from February 2021. Notre Dame tweeted out, we welcome the return of the game. However, Notre Dame will not participate in the game until such time as rules have been finalized govern the participation for our student athletes, regarding NIL. And then you fast forward to February 20th, 2024. So 3 years later, and Notre Dame tweets out the statement that you guys are seeing on the screen there. So, Tyler, you want to give your thoughts? You wrote a story about this over at Blue and Gold, Notre Dame's involvement in the EA Sports College Football 25 game. Tyler, I'm sure we'll have a little Blue and Gold dynasty and I'll drop 50 on your head for sure. But yeah, thoughts on this whole thing, and maybe not our games that we'll play against each other.
Well, just quickly there, I'm rusty, so you probably would beat me right
Me
now.
too.
But talk to me when the game comes out. Maybe I'll get some reps in on Madden or something to practice. In terms of this real life thing that's going on, yeah, this is the advancement of NIL. I think that's what this is. And Notre Dame at the very onset of NIL was one of those schools that had to be a little skeptical of it because it wasn't going to look the same in South Bend as it might in Knoxville or Tuscaloosa. But I think NIL has come so far and Notre Dame has immersed itself nicely with all of these changes that have gone on, that Notre Dame's at a place that it could say, yeah, we want our student athletes to be a part of this. We don't want to get left behind, essentially, because I think Jack Swarbrick said it best. Maybe it was in that statement or, and people have been saying the same exact things. You cannot have an NCAA college football 25 video game without the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I mean, you watch that teaser and there were a couple glimpses of, it slapped the play like a champion sign today. And I think it was the Notre Dame band. Maybe it was another little, like some teams didn't get one shot like that in that teaser. Notre Dame got two. So Notre Dame's going to be a big part of this game. And I mean, I know you and I, Mike, we are all over like the Notre Dame scene on Twitter and social media and stuff, but I feel like Notre Dame has as big of a groundswell with the optimism and just like the sheer joy that comes with being able to play with Notre Dame in this game as any other school in the country. Like you don't really get it. I don't know. I went to the University of Texas and all my friends are not like, woo, yeah, let's go hook 'em. Let's play this game. Whereas Notre Dame fans are like, let's go, man. I can't wait. So it's just different at Notre Dame when it comes to things like this. So I'm very excited that administration is all in and excited to make it as exciting as it can be.
You better believe I'll be playing that game, maybe on my own personal stream, and Steve Angeli will be throwing a ton of touchdown passes to the Mike Singer creative player, who I'll probably end up playing left guard, but it'll be coached by Tim Hyde. Okay, anyways, last item here is regarding the Notre Dame regarding the Notre Dame broadcast booth. Dan Hicks to replace Jack Collinsworth for Notre Dame football broadcast. That was the report from Andrew Marchand of The Athletic, replacing Jack Collinsworth as the play-by-play. And I guess Jason Garrett is still going to be the color guy. But look at this handsome duo
look at that.
here, Tyler Horka and Andy Staples. But yeah, any other thoughts on this news?
Yeah, I think it's pretty awesome for Notre Dame. I guess, I mean, I wasn't here when Dan Hicks was doing games last, and you wouldn't have been either, Mike, covering Notre Dame at that point. But it did happen, I guess, a decade or so ago. But when I think Dan Hicks, I think Olympics, I think golf. Like, I'm a huge Tiger Woods fan. If you guys could see my wall right here, there are literally there's a Sports Illustrated cover of Tiger Woods on my wall above my desk for every single major that he's won. So that's 15, if you know anything about Tiger Woods. And Dan Hicks had some of like the best calls of his career. So I'm a little biased there, but I mean, we all watch the Olympics, right? When Michael Phelps was winning all those gold medals, you hear Dan Hicks' voice. You might not realize that that's Dan Hicks, but Notre Dame fans who are watching this who don't, you're getting a guy that knows what he's doing. I think it's a really good, and I don't want to say anything bad about Jack Collinsworth because look, I'm not in the business of doing that. And I think that like announcers should never be criticized like that because I put it this way. I like music, but I don't really have a musical bone in my body. I'm never going to criticize a musician because I think the music's bad. I think all music is good. Everything sounds different. Jack Collinsworth sounds different from Dan Hicks. So it is what it is. I think Dan Hicks, though, is going to do a phenomenal job. Jason Garrett, obviously, in there as well. Two guys that really know football. So if you're trying to criticize, I would just warn against that because these guys know what they're talking about. And for me, Dan Hicks, like I think that he is up to the task in terms of calling a big moment. And I'll compare him to Mike Tirico in that way, who we are not far removed from hearing his voice on some of these calls. Like that Kyron Williams, North Carolina touchdown where he ran around the edge and Tirico was screaming like down the sideline, Williams, touchdown, Williams. I think you're going to get some of that with Dan Hicks. So I would be pretty excited if I were a Notre Dame football fan.
Yeah, you got to think about like the credentials. Like Jack Collinsworth, maybe not a long list of credentials, but yeah, Dan Hicks does. Jason Garrett, love him or hate him as an announcer. I mean, like I feel like I learn a lot from him. I mean, goodness gracious, he's not far removed from being the Dallas Cowboys freaking head coach for several years. So,
And he
but
was the backup on the Dallas Cowboys when the Dallas Cowboys were winning Super Bowls. So like he's been
yeah,
around greatness.
and
So
a former third string Miami Dolphins quarterback. So I do remember growing up and seeing Jason Garrett on the roster. But anyways, we're going to put it right there, folks. Hit the thumbs up, please, on this video, even if you don't like our broadcast booth takes, because I'm sure most of you don't, because you never like the broadcast booth. Well, maybe not in the past couple of years, but I digress. But anyways, hit the thumbs up on this video. Of course, subscribe to our channel for more content. As always, we will catch you guys next time.